And for the last 3 weeks, I'm sure that, like I have, you have been waking up every morning and asking, where is this all going to end? You know what I'm talking about. The endless, relentless push by the increasingly radical, violent, and totalitarian left to set society against itself, tell us how awful we are at every turn, and generally attack any manifestation of our great civilization wherever and however it stands. Let's be very clear here. What is happening right now is a civil war on the left that is spilling out into the streets and even the restaurants, as we're about to see, of America and, in fact, the entire world, including Australia. And despite those who say that, oh, what's going on right now is just about getting rid of monuments to slavery or the Confederacy or making history more inclusive, the evidence is clear. The end game of the radical left in all this is nothing less than resetting the clock to the year zero. You can see this, by the way. They treat the past not just as a foreign country, but as enemy territory to be subdued and conquered and eliminated. Just as we have seen the very founders of modern Australia attacked and vilified, so too in the United States. Tellingly, this is something Donald Trump predicted would happen back in 2017. Have a listen.
No, George Washington was a slave owner. Was George Washington a slave owner? So will George Washington now lose his status? Are we going to take down, excuse me, are we going to take down statues to George Washington?
And guess what? In Portland, Oregon this weekend, the ground zero of the Antifa moment, where friend of the show Andy No was violently attacked last year, they did just this, toppling and vandalizing a statue of George Washington, the founder of America, and burning an American flag on the site just for good measure. It's a good example of how nothing is sacred to the proponents of this new woke revolution. But as bad as the attacks on symbols of America's founding are in the public square might be, the greater danger is the way this new woke revolution is intruding into what should be our personal and private spaces. I'm going to tell you a quick disturbing story that came out of Massachusetts this week. Massachusetts, fittingly the state that was the home of the infamous Salem witch trials. There in the town of Swampscott, the Australian equivalent of a local councillor went to a local watering hole called Mission on the Bay, and over beers and chicken wings, he had a discussion with some of his mates about how he thought the violence associated with the George Floyd protests were hurting the Black Lives Matter movement. Now, what happened? A bartender overheard the conversation and posted about it on his Facebook page, appalled by the comments that he heard being made by the local politician. Now, here's where it gets weird. The owner of the bar at first fired the barman because, as might be expected, he violated the unspoken bond that exists in a bar or restaurant between customer and server. But then, later on, after pressure, the owner of the bar, Wellington Augusto, went and quickly changed his tune, offering the barman his job back and banning the local counselor from the premises for wrongthink. Sorry, what? How does that even work? Look, it is time to say enough. We have already seen Antifa take over a 7-block section of Seattle and declare it autonomous and independent from the United States. So why should we be surprised that these revolutionary activists might also try to say that even your private conversations or thoughts would also be fair game? And it's happening here in Australia too. Whether it's bottle shops deciding to take a beer off their shelf because some sniveling wokey gets triggered by the word colonial, or Captain Cook statues being vandalized allegedly by Green staffers, the push is on to make this sort of lunacy a feature of daily life in this country just as it is in the United States. Let's not, hey?